Well, in the story of Samuel, you also have, of course, a few incidents with King Saul that are very
Mm.
interesting. I mean, one that has to do with prophecy, another that has to do with calling up the dead. Um, what is actually the boundary that's suggested, for example, in Deuteronomy between the legitimate and the illegitimate forms of divination? You're using divination in this broad sense of human
Hmm.
divine interaction. So what is actually the guideline that's given there? How do we distinguish the permitted from the illicit?
That's quite a difficult question. I mean, luckily you gave me a bit of a sort of criterion by which to go, and that is taking Deuteronomy by its word. Deuteronomy constructs prophecy in very narrow terms. Only prophecy that is uttered by a prophet of Adonai, so other prophets of other gods are out to start off with, is legitimate or can be legitimate, but it could be illegitimate, and only prophecy which comes true, and prophecy that therefore does not stand in contradiction to the law. That puts the possibility of prophets into a very narrow corset in a way. And it also makes it slightly dysfunctional, I think, if we look at it. Martin Issernen, who is of course a towering figure in the study of prophecy in the ancient world, once phrased it that Deuteronomy's good prophet is always a dead prophet. And I think there's something to it, because you can only check whether a prophecy comes true after the fact. And quite often that happens only once you talk about a prophet who's like Moses at the time of the writing of Deuteronomy 13 and 18 is already centuries past. And that in a way disarms prophecy as a disruptive force. Let's put it like that. If you have to wait for the prophecy to come true, then you can't react to it. That stands in direct contrast to the way that all forms of divination would have been used in the ancient world, and are, in fact, in some places in the Hebrew Bible. And that is as a way of encouraging change of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
If I may just continue that thought for a little bit longer. Under Deuteronomy's definition, one could argue that Jonah isn't a real prophet. Because at least during his lifetime, and he says in 3 days this city will be overturned, and clearly those 3 days and the city is still there. So Jonah false prophet under that definition. And I think I know that more recently some scholars have argued that it isn't actually trying to argue with Deuteronomy. I still think that Jonah and Deuteronomy are trying sort of to portray different camps. What you need divination for, just as you might in today's world, very much so currently, for example, is your health advisors, your military advisors, your economic advisors, to give decision makers the kind of forecasts, future casts, nowcasts as well, to make the decisions that they need to make. And if these decisions, if there's no wriggle room, if there's no ability how they can change the future, then you might as well not make the decisions. Then because if doom will come, whatever you do, then doom will come, and then telling you that doom is going to come, if anything, is perhaps slightly unkind. So in a way, I think what Deuteronomy is trying to do is to disarm prophecy as an active thing, and B, to use it as a theological tool to think about what people in the past said and how that fit with what happened according to their view.